Mm. Strategic group mapping is nothing, but it's basically strategic group mapping, as name suggests. We create a map, a graph, a bar diagram, where we position our various competitors in accordance with their market share and market position. So those competitors who have more market share, who have more industry, a strategic group consists of those rival firms which have similar competitive approach and position. So we will combine all those competitors who have same position or similar competitive approaches together, and we will mark them. This is called strategic group mapping. We make groups of such competitors who have similar approach and position. We create group of such competitors who have similar approaches. We have similar approach. We have similar approach and position in the market. So as per the position, we create such groups in the map. And the parameters, these can be industry firms parameters. These can be based on certain parameters. These parameters can be product line breadth. In any of these several ways, these may have been comparable product line breadth. These industries can be comparable on the basis of product line breadth, product, on the basis of distribution channel, the distribution structure, the distribution framework, their price, their quality, their attributes, product attributes, their type of buyers involved in the industry, identical technological approach offers similar buyer services and technical assistance. An industry contains only one strategic group when all sellers pursue essentially identical strategies and have comparable market position. At the extreme, there are as many strategic groups as there are competitors when each rival pursue a distinctly different competitive approach and occupy a substantially different competitive position in the marketplace. So we are going towards another question, like what are the procedure, what are the steps involved in framing a strategic group mapping? What can be steps in strategic group mapping? So step number 1, we need to first identify such competitors characteristics. Identify the competitor, their characteristics. Identify the competitors and their characteristics. Their characteristics. Based on all these factors, these can be product related or geographical related factors. The next step, we need to plot all these into a diagram, into a graph, plot the firms on a 2-variable map pair of using these differentiating characteristics. On the basis of characteristics, we are going to plot. This is called plotting. We are going to plot our competitors based on their attributes, and similar attributes will be form a one group and single group. So based on such factors, we will differentiate them. The third step is to assign firms that fall in about the same strategy place, assign them in the same strategy place to the same strategic group. We will assign those which have similar characteristics, we will assign to a one group, and we'll create different groups for different competitors as per their characteristics, as per, and we will provide them equivalent amount of space. If they have more market position, more market, they have more impact, they have more market position, they have more market share, then we'll give them a larger space, strategic space. The last step is to draw circles around them. Draw circles around each strategic group, making the circle proportional to the size of the group, respective of share of total industry sales revenue. So we need to draw these circles based on the size these competitors have in the industry in relation to the total industry sales revenue. So these are the strategic group mapping. The steps involved is first identifying such competitors based on the characteristics. These characters can be product breadth line, their distribution channels, distribution pattern, the price structure, the quality, the range of products they're offering, their attributes, similar attributes, the buyers that they're dealing with. So we need to identify such characteristics. After identifying, plot them into a two variable map, then assign them space as per they are holding in the market share, and then draw circles based on the size of their market share, the total revenue that they are having in the whole industry. So this map area represents the industry area. So that was strategic group mapping. Let's go towards the next point. So we have completed strategic group mapping. It is done by comparing the market position of each competitor. What we are doing, we are comparing the market position of a competitor separately or for grouping them into like position industry. We draw circles and group them together as per the various characteristics and attributes, and then we create strategic group mapping. It is a technique, remember. Okay, these are very important questions. There can be individual specific questions to such concepts. Likely strategic move of rival. We can assess to outmaneuver rival organizations, need to monitor actions, strategies, and anticipate likely moves of such competitors. What we do is the organization use competitive analysis, make sure to always keep in touch with the competitors and focus on various strategies by the competitors and react to it. Do you remember the reactive strategy in which there were competitors moves? So the organization react to such forces, maybe undevelopment changes or the economic and market forces, but our rivals can be important triggers of change, can be important factors which the organization need to keep in mind and needs to react it and can anticipate in advance and need to react to such strategies. So need to ensure they keep a view, a focus on the moves of the rivals. So the organization uses competitive intelligence. Competitive intelligence refers to the move by using all the intelligence of the forces, our internal capabilities, the estimates that we make to ensure that we can estimate the likely moves, the strategies the rivals are deploying, the latest move, their resource strength and weakness, and plan accordingly our own strategy. Strategic intelligence can help a company determine whether it needs to defend against specific moves taken by the rival or whether those moves provide an opening for a new offense thrust. So strategic intelligence tells the organization whether it needs to go on a defensive side or whether it needs to go on an attack side, whether it's an opportunity or whether the organization needs to defend itself from such strategy. So next, going on, this is also one of the important questions. What are the key success factors? What are key success factors? So key success factors are those factors which are determined by customer, which is determined by market and not by company. These success factors, key success factors, are determined by market they are determined by customer and not the company. Okay, they are strategic elements, product attributes, resources, competencies, competitive capabilities, and business outcomes that affect ability to prosper and lead to competitive success or failure. These factors can these are the important factors which will tell whether the competitor will beat our organization or we will beat the competitors. We will prosper, we will win, or we will lose. So these are very important factors that the organization must keep in mind. Defined by market and not by company or viewed by customer. Industry's key success factors are those things that most affect industry's member ability to prosper in the marketplace. This affects the industry members to prosper in the marketplace. The answer to three questions. These key KSF answers to three important questions which help identify an industry key success factors. These questions are: on what basis do customer choose between the competing brand of sellers, or what product attributes are crucial? So the three questions which are required to be asked, questions which are required to be asked for KSF, for identifying KSF are: number one, how customer choose between different brands, between different industry, between various product. What is the customer pattern, choosing pattern? What product attributes are very crucial for the customer? The second question is: what resources and competitive capabilities does the seller need to have to be competitively successful? So this was on buyer side, how buyers choose. These are on the seller side, like what resources and capabilities that is the organization must have. This is on the seller side. And third question which needs to be asked is: what does it take for seller to achieve a sustainable competitive advantage? So third is our CA, our competitive advantage that the seller must have. That here seller means the organization must have for a sustainable competitive advantage. So two questions are from organization perspective, like what are the resources and capabilities that it may require to gain competitive advantage, and first, how buyers choose the product, what are the attributes that the buyers are looking for, so that the organization can ensure that they focus on such attributes, focus on such factors. So for example, there is an example given here. In apparel manufacturing, clothing industry, the key success factors are appealing design, the color combinations, the low cost manufacturing efficiency. These can be such factors which affects the which can be stated as KSF, key success factors, which can affect the industry's ability to prosper. The more KSF the organization has, it can lead the organization to more prosperity, to more success, to more stability of the organization. Factor. These KSF vary from industry to industry and even from time to time within the same industry, as they are affected by the driving forces and competitive conditions. Only rarely does an industry have more than 3 or 4 key success factors at one time. And even among these 3 or 4, 1 or 2 usually outrank the others in importance. Manager them therefore has to resist the temptation to include factors that have only minor importance on the list of KSF, key success factors. The examples of such KSF, you can state down such example. The examples of such KSF can be KSF can be The strategy elements, the strategy element can be strategy element. It can be product attributes. It can be attributes. It can be resources of the organization. It can be core competencies, CC. It can be core competencies of the organization. It can be competitive capabilities, the internal capabilities, the competitors' capabilities. And sixth, the business outcomes. What are the business outcomes can affect the KSF outcome? So you can use the keyword SARCO for remembering it. SARCCO. SARCCO, SARCO. The strategic element, the attributes, the resources, the core competencies, the competitor's capability, and the outcomes of the business. These are the key success factors. We are further moving on to the last part of the industry and competitive analysis. The last part of industry and competitive analysis is the prospects and financial attractiveness of industry. What is the attractiveness of industry? If the industry is not attractive, do not enter into such industry. So it is very important to ensure whether such industry is attractive or not. Strategists assess industry's outlook carefully, decide whether industry and competitive condition present an attractive business opportunity for the organization, or whether its growth and financial prospects are gloomy. They look after whether there are any entry barriers or not. What is the industry's growth rate? What is the profitability of the industry? What is the degree of risk involved in such industry? What is the severity of problems? These points, you can remember these certain points as an example if there is any individual question asked on this. The attractiveness is relative and not absolute. This can be asked in MCQ. Attractiveness is not an absolute factor. It is not an absolute factor. There are certain other factors which we need to keep in mind. This cannot be in absolute terms, but if it is in relative term, then also it is okay. As the industry keeps on changing, there can be certain key success factors in a whole organization. What are the strategic move of rivals? If there are less rivals, then it is more attractive. What is strategic group mapping? And if there is a position which we can gain in the market, we can target some niche market, some small market. What are the triggers of change? What are the nature and strength of competition? The dominant economic features of the industry. We look into all these factors, and not only the attractiveness of industry while we are conducting the industry and competitive analysis. So these were the industry and competitive analysis. When we are talking about the external factors, external analysis to gain opportunity on threat in relation to industry and competitive conditions, we'll look into 7 insights which answers our question. These are the 7 insights. Before entering to industry or getting into competition, we need to analyze these factors. So a quick revision: the dominant economic features of the industry. We'll look into the product development life cycle, the size of the market, the growth rate of the market, the rivals in the industry, the buyers, the profitability, the nature and strength of competitors. How are the competitors? This has been defined by the Porter's 5 forces model. The triggers of change, the dominant factors, these forces, driving forces, which affects and brings a change in the industry structure and competitive environment. We need to do 2 steps of identifying such, we need to take steps. The 2 steps are identify such triggers of change and assess its impact. The examples of such triggers of change are globalization, internet, e-commerce, innovation. Innovation can be in form of product innovation or marketing innovation. Then cost can be an triggers of change, are factors which can create such changes. Then we went towards strategic group mapping. It is done by comparing the market position and the various factors. We went towards this strategic group mapping, the creation of strategic group mapping, the factors, the characteristics, the steps involved in strategic group mapping, identify the competitors on the and allot on the basis of their characteristics, plot them in a two variable graph, assign them area, space on the basis of the market position they are holding, then draw circles in proportion to the total revenue that they're earning into the industry, and then analyze, make your decision accordingly. So these were strategic group mapping. So we have completed this strategic group mapping. Then we have assessed the strategic moves of rivals. We'll make sure by using competitive intelligence, we assure that what are the strategic moves of rival and whether we can defend against such moves or take an aggressive offset, whether we should defend or we should attack. Basically, competitive intelligence tells us the key success factors, the three steps for identifying, the three questions which we need to ask for identifying such key SF are: how buyers choose, what are the buyers preference, what attributes they look into a product, then as per seller's side, what are the resources and capabilities, and whether such capabilities gives us competitive advantage. These are the three questions. KSF are based on market, based on customer, and not or by the company. They are determined by market and customer, not by company. These can be on various such factors. Remember SARCO, SARCO, SARCO. Then lastly, the prospects and financial attractiveness of industry. These attractiveness should not be on absolute term, but on relative term. Before entering into an industry, we make sure whether the industry is attractive or not. So we look into various factors. We look into various important factors what the industry are giving to us: the industry's growth rate, potential, the profitability involved, the driving forces, the degree of risk, the problems into the market, the competitors, the entry and exit barriers, the rivals in the market. So in total, this was the issues in strategic and competitive analysis, the industry and competitive analysis. So that's it for today. We will end this. In another session, we will start about the core competencies, which is a very important and crucial question. So that's it for today. Enjoy and keep learning. Have a great day. Bye bye.